Church projects don't go wrong during construction. They go wrong the day the wrong architect is chosen. How to choose the right architect for your church project and why this decision matters more than you think. When a parish begins talking about a renovation or a new church, one of the first practical questions that comes up is this: how do you choose the right architect? And usually what follows is a familiar list: experience, cost, references, and style. Those things matter, but they are not the most important criteria. Because a Catholic church is not just another building type, and choosing the wrong architect doesn't lead to inconvenience or budget overruns. It can permanently shape how the liturgy is celebrated, how the faithful worships, and how future generations experience the church. So today I want to give you a clear, structured way to discern the right architect for your church project, one that goes far deeper than resumes and proposals. The first and most important question is not, can this architect design buildings? It's this: do they understand what a Catholic church actually is? A Catholic church is not an auditorium. It's not a gathering hall with a religious symbol added on later. It's not a flexible event space. A Catholic church is a liturgical instrument ordered toward sacrifice, sacrament, procession, and prayer. The right architect understands. The altar is not a stage. The sanctuary is not a platform. The nave is not seating, but a pilgrim body. Architecture is not decoration, but theology built in stone. If an architect cannot speak fluently about liturgy, sacrament, and sacred hierarchy, then no amount of technical skill can compensate for that gap. Many firms are eager to show you ideas quickly, but speed at the beginning often leads to confusion later. The right architect begins with discernment, listening, asking better questions than the parish knows to ask. They seek to understand your parish's spiritual identity, its devotional life, its liturgical habits, its history and aspirations. They don't impose a style. They don't recycle solutions. They translate your parish into architecture. If the first thing an architect offers you is a sketch, pause. Good architecture begins with understanding, not imagery. Church projects fail most often not because of poor intentions, but because of poor integration. The right architect understands that liturgy affects acoustics, acoustics affect music, music affects spatial proportion, proportion affects theology, and theology affects everything. They do not design in fragments. They integrate architecture, structure, light, acoustics, art, furnishings, procession, accessibility, all as a single coherent system. If an architect treats the altar, lighting, sound, art, and seating as separate problems, you will feel it every Sunday. One of the greatest anxieties parishes face is uncertainty. Will this work? Will it feel right? Are we making a mistake? The right architect eliminates guesswork. They use advanced visualization tools so that parish councils can see before they vote, pastors can understand before they approve, parishioners can support what they can comprehend. This clarity builds trust, consensus, and confidence. If an architect says to you, trust the process, without giving you the ability to see the outcome, this is not trust, that is risk. A common false choice is presented to parishes: beauty or affordability. The right architect rejects this false dilemma. They understand phasing strategies and how to prioritize sacred elements, long-term stewardship over short-term savings. They know how to design in a way that honors the sacred, respects the donor sacrificed, avoids wasteful redesign, builds once and not twice. If an architect treats budget as an enemy of beauty or beauty as an enemy of the budget, neither will survive the process. Finally, the right architect doesn't see themselves as a service provider competing for a commission. They see themselves as a guide. They lead parish leaders calmly through complexity, help committees reach alignment, translate between clergy, donors, builders, and artisans, carry the weight of the decision-making so that the parish doesn't have to. They are present from the first conversation through the final dedication. Church architecture is not a transaction, it's a pilgrimage. A pilgrimage requires a guide who knows the terrain. So the real question is not which architect has the best proposal. It is which architect understands the church, the liturgy, and our parish deeply enough to carry this responsibility. When you find an architect who understands sacred theology, begins with listening, designs integrated systems, provides clarity through visualization, respects beauty and budget, and walks with you as a guide, you won't need to compare many options. The right choice becomes obvious. And when that happens, the building that emerges will not simply be new or renovated. It will finally feel like a church it is always meant to be. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video.